they took a statement of my mother's where she said that we don't want Rajakar's families getting jobs with firearms, with weapons. Where did these weapons come from? Where did these weapons come into Bangladesh from? Personal gratitude to Prime Minister Modi for his government's quick action in saving my mother's life.
Message to the government of India, and what are your expectations, as being Bangladesh's strongest supporter in the region?
My message to the government of India, first of all, is my personal gratitude to Prime Minister Modi for his government's quick action in saving my mother's life. I am eternally grateful to. My second message is that India needs to take a leadership role in the world, not let other foreign powers dictate the situation, because this is India's neighborhood. This is India's eastern side. It is a proven track record that no one can deny that the Awami League government, Sheikh Hasina's government, kept peace in Bangladesh, kept economic growth, stopped insurgency, and kept the eastern side of our subcontinent stable. We are the only government that has proven we can do it. No one else has. Other governments have tried. They have failed. So if you want stability and security, your best bet is the Awami League. Now, obviously, you cannot directly support a party, but what you can do is support and demand democracy, which is, and constitutional democracy, which is elections within 90 days. If elections are held within 90 days, I am confident that the Awami League will still win. And that is the only thing that will ensure stability in Bangladesh, security, and protection of the minorities. That is the only thing that will ensure it.
Now that the interim government is in place, and we've seen the U.S. welcoming UNICEF's, government, interim government, what are your views on this government and the caretaker of this government?
I mean, actually, in a way, I welcome it, because these people have been championed by the minority, by the elite, and by the West. I personally believe, having seen the functioning of government and having served as a government, as an honorary advisor to the government, that it is one thing to be appointed to to be handpicked and appointed to a position. It's a whole other thing to govern, and without political experience, without governance experience, it is very, very difficult to run a country. So I'm actually curious to see how they perform, whether they are even capable of running the country. However, the point is that our Supreme Court has ruled, and our Constitution says that a non-elected government cannot run a country, even for 1 minute. Right now, this is an unconstitutional government. They are not elected. So there is no democracy in Bangladesh today. So they are talking about democracy, but there is no democracy. So what do you have to do if you want to have democracy? You have to have elections. And our Constitution is very clear on this provision that from the day Parliament is dissolved, new elections have to be held within 90 days. There is no way around it. There is no such thing as an interim government in the Constitution which can stay in power beyond 90 days. That does not exist. So I believe that this government's priority should be to hold elections as soon as possible. And definitely it has to
by the situation which boiled down to resignation of Sheikh Hasina ma'am. What prompted this situation? Why do you think it happened the way it happened? Because the tussle which we saw, the carnage which we saw, it was all evident. The visuals which we all saw. So what's your take on that, and why it happened according to you?
I now firmly believe this was instigated by a small group, and most likely by a foreign intelligence agency. I strongly suspect ISI. If you'll notice that the protests really did not, there was no reason for the protests in the first place to continue because the quotas were not mandated by our government. The quotas were restored by the courts, by a court ruling. Our government had lifted the quotas many years ago, in 2018 or so, when the first quota protests happened. So at first when the protests started, the protests were peaceful. Our police was providing security for the protesters, keeping them safe. And then they took a statement of my mother's where she said that we don't want Rajakar's families getting jobs. They took that statement and twisted it saying that my mother said that the protesters are Rajakars. My mother never said that, but this was spread online. And then, in the middle of the night, you had some group, nobody knows who did that, marching through Dhaka University chanting, we are Rajakar, we are Rajakar. Now, if you have a group marching through Jerusalem in the middle of the night chanting, we are Nazis, that is the equivalent. What would be the result? The result would be that the people of Jerusalem would get angry and start attacking those who they think said this. And that is what happened. The other students, especially Chhatra League, our student supporters, the pro-liberation students, they got angry, they attacked the protesters, and that is how the violence started. The police tried to stop the violence, and in doing so, some of the police members used live ammunition, which they were not authorized to do. Our government never ordered anyone to attack. Our government never ordered the police to use live ammunition. We immediately called our student leaders and said, stop the fighting. The fighting stopped. We immediately suspended the police officers that used excessive force. But even then, that wasn't enough. After that, they increased the demand to resignation of the government. And once they did that, they started attacking the police. Now, they were attacking the police with firearms, with weapons. Where did these weapons come from? Where did these weapons come into Bangladesh from? How did the students get weapons? So these weren't students. This was a mob. This was a militancy that was instigated to try to overthrow a democratically elected government. That is what happened. My mother left because her security forces, the Prime Minister's security forces, the Special Security Force, the Prime Minister's guards, they were heavily armed. They were prepared to guard the Prime Minister's residence, Gणভবন. But if the protesters had marched on Gণভবন, hundreds, if not thousands of them would have been killed. It would have been a massacre. And my mother did not want a massacre. That is why she left.